Welcome everybody. The first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency began with his inauguration as the 45th President of the United States, which occurred at noon on January 20, 2017. The 48th Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence, was inaugurated on the same day. The 100th day of Trump's presidency was the 29th of April, 2017. Trump first announced his plan for the first 100 days of his presidency in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, on the 23rd of October, 2016, before the election. One of Trump's major accomplishments, made as part of a 100-day pledge, was the confirmation of Neil Gorsuch as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. Structurally, President Trump had the advantage of a Republican Party majority in the U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate, but was unable to fulfill his major pledges in his first 100 days and had an approval rating of between 40 and 42%, the lowest for any first-term president at this point in his tenure. Although he tried to make progress on one of his key economic policies, the dismantling of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, his failure to repeal the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, PACA, in the first 100 days was a major setback, for he reversed his position on a number of issues including labeling China as a currency manipulator, NATO launching the 2017 Shahed missile strike without congressional approval, the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, renomination of Janet Yellen as chair of the Federal Reserve, and the nomination of Export-Import Bank directors. Supporters claimed that as the first to have been elected president in present times who has held neither military or political office, he therefore faced a steep learning curve. Trump's approval among his base was high, with 96% of those who voted for him saying in an April 2017 poll that they would vote for him again. Near the end of the 100 days, the Trump administration introduced a broad outline of a sweeping tax reform, focusing on deep tax cuts. While it is intended to encourage economic growth, there were concerns from some members of the United States Congress about raising the national deficit. In spite of the sharp decline in gross domestic product, GDP, in the first quarter of 2017, representing the weakest quarterly economic growth in 3 years, the S&P 500 was near an all-time high, representing a 12% rise from the first quarter of 2016, as investor confidence remained elevated, although Trump had to concede to delay funding for the US-Mexico border wall he had promised, narrowly avoiding a government shutdown a few days before the end of the first 100 days. His rhetoric may have contributed to a sharp drop in the number of illegal crossings at the Mexico-United States border. Trump signed 24 executive orders in his first 100 days, the most executive orders of any president since World War II. He also signed 22 presidential memoranda, 20 presidential proclamations, and 28 bills. About a dozen of those bills roll back regulations finalized during the last months of his immediate predecessor Barack Obama's presidency using the Congressional Review Act. Most of the other bills are small-scale measures that appoint personnel, name federal facilities, or modify existing programs. None of Trump's bills are considered to be major bills based on a long-standing political science standard for major bills. Presidential historian Michael said that based on a legislative standard, which is what the first 100 days has been judged on since the tenure of President Franklin Roosevelt, who enacted 76 laws in 100 days, including 9 that were major. Trump is really pretty low down on the list. Welcome everybody. The first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency began with his inauguration as the 45th President of the United States, which occurred at noon on January 20, 2017. The 48th Vice President